Straight ahead on CCX News, winter's first big test. It led to problems on the highways, but we'll show you how crews in Golden Valley are using a new tool to respond to changing road conditions. Plus, help for drivers as we age. We'll look at the tools that are helping seniors stay safer on the roads. And later, catching the holiday spirit on the tracks. CCX News starts right now. Slow, slippery, and if the road salt worked, slushy. It was one long day made worse by a pair of semis that got stuck Tuesday morning on northbound Highway 169 near Highway 55 in Golden Valley. Northbound 169 was shut down a second time after another semi jackknifed near Medicine Lake Road in New Hope. Hello, everyone, and thanks for joining us on this chilly Tuesday. A big reason for the slippery roads, rain, and then a drastic temperature change.
Well, that's right. In the northwest suburbs, there was a 37-degree difference between Monday and Tuesday morning. Scraping, of course, was a common sound throughout the day as homeowners worked to chisel away ice and about an inch of snow that fell overnight. But winter's first test didn't seem to bother Linda Stokes of New Hope. She took the sudden change in stride.
Welcome, Minnesota. This is what we live for. I love the snow.
But the ice is kind of an extra ice.
The weather's drastic change was the first real test for a new weather station in Golden Valley.
As Delane Cleveland reports, the technology will help city crews manage their response to ice and snow.
A concoction of ice, snow, and slush greeted drivers this morning. It was a mess for both commuters and the crews in charge of clearing the roads.
It's been a challenge.
Marshall Bugan is Golden Valley's street maintenance supervisor. It's his job to determine when to deploy the plows and what materials to use to treat the roads.
When you have the rain in front of the snow, you can't really get out and pre-treat the roads because the rain will just wash it away. So you really have to wait until after it turns into snow before you can put down any of the salt chemicals.
Using the right chemical is important for the city.
On the far left, that's going to be the sensor.
Now Golden Valley has a new tool in the middle of Winnetka Avenue to help crews respond to the changing pavement conditions.
So it takes a snapshot, a visual snapshot every 12 minutes to give me a visual of the road condition. It's also testing the surface temperature, the air temperature, the dew point.
All that along with the level of traction on the road. The weather station was installed in October. Attached are sensors and cameras that recorded the precise conditions.
I can pair that with the graph and see.
Marshall can then access all of that information from his computer.
I'm able to pull this up from home on my smartphone or from my computer and see what conditions are going on in Golden Valley and help me make decisions based off of that. It's awesome.
The ultimate goal is to reduce the amount of salts used on the roads and ultimately help the environment.
We're really conscious about the impaired waters in our watershed, and this is just, like I said, another tool in our toolbox to help us reduce those chlorides.
In Golden Valley, Delane Cleveland, CCX News.
City crews placed the weather station on Winnetka because it's a divided road, and that allows them to test the effectiveness of different chemicals on each side.
It is hard enough to drive on slippery roads. It gets even harder as we reach our senior years. But as Eric Nelson found out, there are some ways to make driving safer for those over 65.
How about mirror adjustments?
I think it's very important for seniors to continue to stay educated on upcoming technology that can help them in their cars, and as well as tips on how to handle the road safely.
Despite crawling traffic and roads that resembled an ice rink,
Thank you for skating your way in today.
a group of seniors somehow arrived at AAA in St. Louis Park today
If we extend our following distance, we reduce our crash risk.
to get some safe driving tips.
Seniors are more fragile, so they're at higher risk of getting injured when they get into a crash versus someone younger.
One of the things that really helps is this mirror, and that provides a larger field of view, so it's easier to see what's behind you.
The seniors learned about inexpensive tools they can buy to make their travel safer.
So as people get older, people get a little smaller, have a little harder time kind of seeing above the steering wheel.
AAA recommends cushions, pedal extenders, extensions, and even special mirrors that provide a better field of vision.
One of the biggest cause for accidents in older adults is changing lanes and merging. So it's very important to people to be able to see what's in their blind spot.
Some highways are like NASCAR tracks these days, and seniors have had to adjust to the frantic pace.
It's a different world out there than it was when we first started driving. So
now that the roads are full of snow and ice, AAA also has plenty of other tips for drivers of all ages on how they should handle the slippery highways. A couple keys are slowing down and allowing more time to get from A to B.
The more distance you give yourself, the more reaction time you're giving yourself, so that if something happens in front of you, you have more time to slow down and react.
It is important to have a survival kit, just in case you get stuck.
Have a blanket, an extra pair of mittens and hats in case you're waiting for a while, maybe having some snacks on hand, flashlight.
I'm Eric Nelson, CCX News.
And now from a drastic change in the weather to a major shift in the state's budget. A new budget forecast out today projects a $188 million budget shortfall. It's something state lawmakers will have to resolve when their session convenes in February. Last year at this time, the state was expecting a $1.4 billion surplus. Reasons for the deficit include projections of reduced consumer spending and slower wage growth.
And now to local reaction following the U.S. Supreme Court ruling that President Trump can put a travel ban into effect while legal appeals are being weighed in lower courts. The news surprised the people at African Immigration Services in Brooklyn Park, who have been fielding calls from people asking questions about it. The current travel ban means people from 8 countries, including the African nations of Somalia, Chad, and Libya, will not be allowed to emigrate to the U.S. Advocates have been working together to answer questions, alleviate fears, and let their voices be heard.
We're very hopeful of what's going to happen next. Like I said, we've been advocating for our community members in multiple coalitions, but also speaking up and making sure that the anti-immigrant atmosphere that currently exists within our nation is not something that is proof of our values.
Under the current order, no existing visas will be revoked, and people who currently travel to the U.S. will not be affected.
Call if you can, text if you can't. That's the motto behind the state's new Text 911 service that went live today. Text 911 allows people to send a text message to 911. It's a service that will especially help people who are deaf or unable to speak, or people caught up in situations in which speaking on the telephone could put them in danger. Officials emphasize the new texting service should only be used when a person cannot safely make a voice call.
Golden Valley residents will get a chance this week to learn more about police body cameras. An open house will take place on Thursday from 6:30 to 8 p.m. at the Golden Valley Police Station. Residents will be able to see how the cameras work and ask questions. The city has budgeted $210,000 for the equipment. The Golden Valley City Council is expected to vote on purchasing the cameras next month. Golden Valley would join Brooklyn Park, Brooklyn Center, Crystal, and Robbinsdale as cities that either have or are in the process of rolling out a police body camera program. Still ahead, we visit Brooklyn Center High School for today's School Spotlight.
Plus, after a trip to the state championship last winter, the Champlin Park boys basketball team will have a lot of new faces in the lineup this season. We'll meet them later in sports.
But first, staying cold and windy on Wednesday with wind chills in the single digits. We will be right back.
In today's School Spotlight, we go to Brooklyn Center High School.
And besides academics, you'll find an emphasis on the arts. Here's Eric Nelson.
Do you think that art could answer any of these questions?
Brooklyn Center High is an art-centric campus. Performing and visual arts are a prominent part of the school's curriculum.
It offers a lot of kids a chance to be creative and to be problem solvers in a supportive environment.
Centaur students who are in the school band take great pride in their work.
Be able to connect and to make music is something powerful that I really enjoy. If I'm having a bad day or I'm stressed out, I can just pick up my clarinet and kind of play my problems away.
Being in the band gives these students a chance to express themselves in a positive way.
One thing I really enjoyed about band is that it was kind of a safe space you could go.
It allows students to have a program that they take pride in and feel success with, and allows them to create a large group product that is different than many of our other courses that are very individual based.
At some schools, being a band member is costly, but not at Brooklyn Center.
We try to remove barriers to access for our students.
If someone wants to join the band, money is not a deal breaker.
We provide the instrument, the supplies, and the lessons for our students at no charge.
Sometimes I'll pull out old music and be like, oh my God, I remember when this was super hard, and now I'm playing technical pieces that I didn't think I'd ever be able to play.
There is also a focus on visual arts at Brooklyn Center, such as drawing, photography, and theater.
I think it's really essential. I think that art is not an extra.
The school's MO is simple. The arts are critical and equal in status next to other core subjects.
I'm very biased, but yes. Yeah, I absolutely do think that that's really important.
Students are encouraged to be free thinkers and pursue their passions. Creativity is not stifled on this campus.
We need people who think outside of the box and look for creative solutions, and who also know how to persist when encountering difficulties.
I think being involved and having art as the backbone of BC has been an amazing experience.
Which is why some Brooklyn Center students have a bounce in their step when they come to school.
Here, because of so much diversity and so much acceptance of art, it has propelled my skills and experience to another level.
Yes, at BC, it's about the art of the possible, which is made possible by a school that lets kids pursue the arts. For School Spotlight, I'm Eric Nelson, CCX News.
Still ahead, the next best ride this time of year behind only Santa's sleigh.
But first, the longtime football coach at Champlin Park is stepping down. John Jacobson has the details next in sports.
I'm John Jacobson with sports. For just the third time in 26 years, Champlin Park is looking for a new head football coach. Mike Corton resigned Tuesday morning after 15 seasons as head coach. Corton's teams won 93 games and lost just 50 in his 15 years, with state playoff appearances in 2004 and 2016. In 2016, Rebels finished 8-4, losing in the state semifinals to Eden Prairie. Champlin Park finished 5-5 this year. Corton was an assistant under Tim Herman, who was the head coach for Champlin Park football for 11 seasons. And here's what Mike told us today.
It's been something I've been thinking about. When I became the head coach, I was just married and didn't have kids and all that other stuff. And now my kids are getting to that age. And it's just time. It's time to be a good dad. It's time to be a better husband. It's time to take care of my family, take care of my own mental health, physical health, and everything else.
Corton says he may come back as an assistant at sub-level in the future, but is done being a head coach. Champlin Park will post the job soon and start the work of looking for a replacement after the holidays, with the goal of having a choice made by the end of the winter season. Well, Mike Corton was a head coach at the Champlin Park boys basketball program at one time. The Rebels have been a power in recent years and finished as Class 4A runner-up last season. As Jay Wilcox reports, this year's Champlin Park squad has some big shoes to fill.
It's a whole new look for Champlin Park this season. Two of the state's best players, point guard McKinley Wright and center Theo John, have graduated and are playing Division I college ball. And some other talented seniors also moved on.
Well, some playmakers, but not nearly as close as McKinley Wright. And then on the boards, we'll have to box out a little more because Theo was a big part of that. So yeah, rebounding will be a big thing, and just defense overall, and finding a leader like McKinley Wright was.
Last year, obviously, we had a lot of seniors, so losing all of them gives people, because like our school, we have a lot of talent basketball-wise, so it gives a lot of people chances to show what they can do and show the whole state like we were trying to reload, not just rebuild.
The Rebels returned two players who saw extensive action last season. Guard Josiah Strong, who started for part of the season, and wing Bennett Otto, a sharpshooter off the bench. They'll be counted on to lead and have expanded roles this winter.
There will be a lot of roles that we got to fill, especially the bigger ones. I mean, I think these guys are up for the task, you know. They were waiting in line, just like myself, to play that bigger role, so I think we're ready for it.
To start the year, will probably be a little different because last year every person on the court was like a weapon at first and like confident, varsity experience. So at first we might be a little young, I would say, and young guys learning how to play together, but we still have size. We got a lot of bigs, and then we got a lot of guards that can put the ball in the basket and create for others. So
Champlin Park's become a consistent high-level winner, and they've had success at younger levels also. So the strength of the overall program will be tested this season.
I think the experiences that the boys had, you know, at the younger levels, and watching the older guys kind of, you know, succeed and do big things, I think that excites them, and it gives them the opportunity now to kind of, you know, make their footprint in Champlin Park history and have that opportunity. So
it may take some time to gel, and it's safe to say Champlin Park won't be as dominant as last season, but don't count the Rebels out either. Jay Wilcox, CCX Sports.
The Rebels face Minnetonka Saturday at the Breakdown Classic at Hopkins. Their home opener is next Tuesday, December 12th, when they host Hopkins. They have a lot of new players in the lineup, but the Hopkins Park girls hockey team is playing well. On this week's Sports Jam show here on CCX, Jay Wilcox profiles Royal senior Kylie Hanley. Here's a clip from that story.
I love to play a fast game. I like to use my speed and size to my advantage. Move the puck quickly, get lots of shots, a lot of heads-up hockey.
You notice she's the first one on the ice, last one off, but she's just got an extra gear. And, you know, people come up when we went up to Proctor. They said, well, if we can stop her, we'll be fine. And, you know, she got 4 points. She got a point on every goal that we scored. And, you know, I don't think people realize that she's not at top speed. And then when she turns it on, she's past you.
Hanley led the Royals to a 6-1 start heading into the weekend and already had racked up 12 goals and 9 assists in the first 7 games.
And that's it for sports. We'll be back with more in a moment.
And finally, for many young children, there's a thrill in seeing a train, and there's a train coming that's decked out in holiday lights.
Kids and families can take it all in this weekend at stops in Golden Valley and New Hope. Canadian Pacific's festively lighted train will be spreading holiday cheer again this year. There will be live entertainment and refreshments, but if you go, organizers are hoping that you will remember to bring along a food or cash donation to benefit Prism and the food group. Food banks say the need is not declining.
We really try to get healthy foods out to people because they sometimes can be more expensive. So we would love, you know, like whole grain pastas, brown rice, or some proteins like canned tuna or chicken, peanut butter, things like that are really in high demand.
Last year, the stop in New Hope raised about 3,700 pounds of food, nearly $6,000. The train stops at the New Hope Ice Arena at 3:30 on Sunday and in Golden Valley just before 5 o'clock. So make sure you bring along some food to donate or cash. They'll take that.
Always a popular stop.
That's it for now. Thanks so much for joining us, everyone.
We will see you back here on Wednesday starting at 4 o'clock.